Hello, everyone, and welcome to mine and Blaze and Spin's Battlebots What If podcast. Today we are doing a what if uh, World Championship 4 had a round of 32. Uh, Today, me and Spin are joined by Nametab, Zassa, Beta, and Money. Say hi, everyone.
Good
Hello.
evening.
Yo.
Hola.
Hi, Spin. So basically, what this podcast is about is just me and Spin. You basically just started talking about what ifs during points when we were just hanging out, and we thought it would be fun to just make this a podcast and add some of our friends into it, right? So it's basically just taking like, what if X thing happened in X BattleBots or X Robot Combat season. Because this can also just be like other events. BattleBots is just what me and Spin, I believe, know best. So yeah, and as I said before, today we are doing doing World Championship 4 as a round of 32, and we have already seeded the bracket, but we do have some talking points that we want to discuss. In this first part of what's probably gonna be a two-part thing.
Yeah.
right.
So, like obviously with any BattleBot seeding, there's always a bit of who goes where, which is always a bit fun. So we thought we'd kind of go over the like some of the more interesting bits. So yeah. So the top 7 are the same as IRL. So one Witch Doctor. Sorry, one Bite Force. I'm already getting it wrong. One
Witch
Bite
Doctor
Force.
should have been the number 1 seed. Trust me, bro.
2 Witch Doctor, 3 Hydra, 4 Tombstone, 5 Whiplash, 6 Death Roll, 7 Soul Blaze. So it's kind of, and for like number 8, was Black Dragon 8 or 9 IRL? I actually don't know.
Black Dragon was the 8th
It was
seed. Yeah.
8. Yeah. So like obviously like that makes a lot of sense for a round of 16 because you want your like Desperado winner to be kind of in the middle. But so that kind of sparked the whole Black Dragon debate. Yeah. So I don't know if we want to kind of get into that because it was like, do we put Black Dragon 16 because it's halfway through and won the Desperado? But we kind of decided that like that would kind of grossly underrate how well Black Dragon did because yeah, like they won the Desperado and beat like
They shouldn't have been in the Desperado.
You shouldn't really have been in there because they were very unlucky to lose that decision against Texas Twister.
They shouldn't have lost the decision.
Yeah.
That was a stupid decision.
Yeah. So our kind of next top 3 were like Son of Waiachi, Black Dragon, and Hypershock. And I think we kind of fairly unanimously agreed Son of Waiachi should be highest out of those. But then Black Dragon versus Hypershock was a bit of a debate because both of them had like very impressive seasons.
Yeah. All right. Let's discuss Black Dragon Hypershock real quick. All right. I know I was on the opinion that Hypershock should be seated above Black Dragon. However, I will say I didn't go and rewatch World Championship 4. I was doing this based off memory. And I remember Hypershock doing a lot better against Bite Force than it actually did. Is it Black Dragon or Hypershock actually? Anyways, I just remember Hypershock doing really well against Black Dragon.
You were just throwing all of the names out.
Dude, you just randomly.
Yeah, like word salad of robots.
We'll get there.
I just remember
anyway, guys, about Balespear.
Will Balespear.
Oh wait. Oh shoot.
Will Balespear. So true.
All right. I just remember Hypershock doing really well against Bite Force. But apparently I remember them doing a lot better than they actually did. Call that freaking what is it, like selective bias or something?
Selective
Well, they
memory.
do a lot better than
Selective
survivor
memory.
bias? No,
Bite Force's
that's the wrong
opponents.
bias.
Availability heuristic.
I got no clue.
Well, it's a word.
That is true. Maybe it's 2 words.
Whoa.
I think we
that's
just
pushing both
remember
up.
it that way. I think we
Yeah.
just remember it that way because it was such a big deal that like Hypershock was able to, kind of make Bite Force bleed a little bit.
Yeah.
Made
I
them
think that's
flinch.
absolutely true, and it's the same thing with Yeti as well, right? Like I remembered the Yeti fight. I remember it being a really close decision where I was like, oh, maybe Yeti should have won. Then I rewatched it, and like Bifrost actually just kicks Yeti around all the time, and then like Yeti gets like stuck with the fork, so there's kind of a
Yeah.
deadlock, and then at the end, Bite Force might lose drive, but it's not super clear, and not super clear if that's even because of anything that Yeti did.
I think it
I
very
think
clearly started crab walking.
it did.
Maybe,
and it was
yeah,
also
but
still
like
stuck
it
on that
wasn't
fork.
like Yeti did much in the fight. It just kind of like it didn't look like Yeti did much in the
It
fight.
just happened.
There were
It's
also
just-
two
it
unsticks.
stalemated their drive, and then that probably burnt out a motor or something.
Mhm.
That's my theory, at least.
Who
Bite
knows?
It's one of
Force
those.
used,
It's one of those fights where
chains.
it really made it. It really seemed closer than it was, simply because Bite Force is so utterly dominant otherwise that anyone
Yeah.
even making it slightly sweat looks like they're so close to beating and they could have had it and they didn't actually, and we all just
Yeah.
remember it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, let's go back to talking about Black Dragon and Hypershock and who should have been seated higher. We eventually decided on Black Dragon being seated higher than Hypershock, but and that
Yeah,
was
I think there's arguments both ways, right? Like I think
Mhm.
like obviously Hypershock challenging Bite Force is just something that hasn't really happened. Like so that's got to be weighted highly.
This is Chompy Erasure.
Oh
True.
yeah, it's not Erasure. My bad.
You know
my
what? Base.
bad.
Let's
But like you know,
based.
like Bite Force in like at this point. But for me, I was definitely on the camp of Black Dragon just because like they've got four really good wins. They were either very dominant or against Minotaur. And like even though Minotaur was struggling, like they were it's still Minotaur, and they fixed it up for the Desperado quite a bit. And then
Yeah.
even the loss against Texas Twister was very unfortunate. Like I think it's generally agreed they should have won that.
Are we allowed to disqualify him because of the pronunciation of Minotaur, or
I knew it was
Yeah,
going to
I
happen
was right.
eventually.
Yeah.
I was waiting
Sorry,
for
Can we-
that.
All right,
This
Nametab, we're
is-
gonna have to
I
kill you
can't
real
believe
quick.
I think
Haley-
what eventually ended up pushing me onto the side of Black Dragon over Hypershock was their one loss being that it was a Mickey Mouse loss at the end of the day. They realistically should have gone unbeaten. Whereas
Yeah.
Hypershock's loss, despite being a fairly impressive loss, they've still very clearly lost that fight.
Yeah.
I'd also like to add, because I was just sitting here thinking about my own perspective on this, because I wasn't here when they were talking about it originally, and I was originally leaning Hypershock on strength of schedule. You know, Monsoon and Valkyrie are certainly nothing to sneeze at, and in my opinion, you know, more challenging opponents than rookie Texas Twister and Bloodsport and Captain Shredderator, who existed for sure.
Captain Shredder is better, bro.
And then Warhawk, I like Warhawk, and it made the bracket the previous season, but that version of Warhawk just wasn't all that good. So I had initially been thinking, Hypershock takes it on that end, and the losses, the fact that Black Dragon shouldn't have been a loss is kind of balanced by the fact that Hypershock's was to Bite Force, and you can't really fault most bots for losing to it. But then I started remembering that Hypershock's final fight was a gimme against Breakerbox, and they very nearly threw that fight.
Oh, that's true.
That is-
Yeah.
I think it's kind of similar to Season 5 Bloodsport in the sense of, like, if this has happened early season, I'd probably wave it away and go, like, first fight jitters, everybody has them, whatever. But having it happen right at the end of your schedule doesn't look good heading into a tournament, and you start to question, like, do they really have this? So I think the fact that Black Dragon's most recent fight at that point was clutching it out versus Minotaur, and Hypershock's was almost losing to Breakerbox, who could barely drive sometimes. Not a favorable comparison there when you're ending the season.
Yeah, the hacker nearly did the funniest thing ever.
It would have been really funny.
I
would've-
really hate to say, but the breaker box fight is what really swayed me towards Black Dragon, because like Hypershock had really impressive fights with like Monsoon, which they just completely dominated start to finish. Valkyrie had one of the most impressive box rushes, and of course they put up a decent fight against Bite Force, but I think struggling so hard against what's supposed to be a gimme and what is a 1-3 in your schedule just really sways me, because like a lot of like Black Dragon never sweated until they fought Minotaur, and they still won that by unanimous decision. You know, like they have Texas Twister and Bloodsport, who made bracket in the round of 32.
Yeah.
And then you just have like a bot that made round of 30 round of 16 last year, and then Captain Shredder, blah, blah, blah. But like I think just the raw strength of schedule and Black Dragon's refusal to like, you know, really struggle against anyone except for like Texas Twister and Minotaur is just what really swayed me. And then Hypershock struggling against a bot who's not even close to contention is just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to again point out the timing, the order of it, because the seedings in the tournament aren't just an overall like how well did you do throughout the whole season. It also factors in how well you're doing at the end of the season. Is your tide rising or falling? Are you improving with every win and loss? Are you getting better? Or are you just kind of stagnating and falling off there? I think the fact that Hypershock fumbled so close to the finish line there really hurts them in comparison to the robot whose strongest win was the last one it had going into the bracket.
Yeah. And
You know,
this is the same reason why
Dragon's
Fusion
on the
shouldn't-
upswing.
Yeah. And this is why Fusion shouldn't have been in the World Championship round of 32.
That's
Give
for
us
another
Big
episode,
Dill.
I think.
Give us Big Dill, you cowards.
True.
Already spoilers. All right. Yeah. So we went for our kind of the kind of first kind of new seeds. We went so 8 Son of Archie, 9 Black Dragons, 10 Hypershock. And so 11 we went huge. 12 we went Lockjaw. 13 we went Yeti. And then another kind of interesting next two, we ended up with Uppercut in 14th and Scorpios in 15th. And I know for me, like this was a really interesting one, because initially, like remembering World Championship for Uppercut, I was like, oh, this really wasn't very good. I remember being like thinking this wasn't really a very good robot until World Championship 5. And then Scorpios is like Battlebots veteran, they've been around forever. And you're like, oh, Scorpio, even though Scorpius lost, you're like, they've got the same record. Scorpius is going to have been more impressive. But for me, actually watching the fights, it was, and like, it actually kind of ended up being a different story. And I would now back Uppercut over Scorpius for sure. So yeah, I don't know what you guys kind of think about this kind of pair.
I think Scorpius and Uppercut are actually kind of similar in the problems they had. I mean, obviously they both had brand new weapon systems, and they both consistently had kind of problems getting them going. And there's a little bit of sort of like, I mean, I guess Scorpius had that really, really strong showing against Copperhead, you know, sniping their chains, popping them over. And then
I'm not sure I'd call that a strong showing, honestly.
Yeah, actually, this that's what I was about to say. Yeah, like so I that's why I was initially like, oh, Scorpius is going to be above Uppercut initially, because yeah, they had that strong showing against Copperhead. But rewatching the fight, Copperhead actually breaks down before Scorpius really does anything.
Yeah, but I think it was more of a showcase of the weapon.
Yeah,
I
I mean, like
didn't
it
really
shows
see for
weapon
the rest of the
effectiveness
season.
for sure.
It did.
Yeah, I agree. But like the fact that they can't deploy it until Copperhead has totally stopped moving, and like the
Yeah.
fact they were like getting destroyed by Copperhead in the head-to-head, like well, not literally destroyed, but the wedge was getting bent. They weren't getting under.
Yeah.
That really kind of made me want to. Like, that made me, with that win being less impressive for Scorpius, I was like, okay, Uppercut should probably be higher.
Yeah, and you know, the strength of schedule for Scorpius is a little bit of a weird one for such a you know, a talked up robot at the time. I mean, it had been good in 2018. It, you know, qualified for the bracket and had to pull out because of lack of spares. it came in with a decent amount of hype. It started building wins, but its schedule didn't really match that. Like, Copperhead was a rookie. Well, technically, the team had been
I
there
mean,
before.
I mean,
Yeah,
well,
Rookie
to be
design.
fair, Copperhead was the successor to Poison
Yeah,
Arrow, which
that's
made
what.
the
It was
copy.
accepted as Poison Arrow as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, even if you include that, I'm not a Poison Arrow believer. It was a fraud, but
Well, I mean, so was Copperhead. Let's be real.
putting that aside, it's still like a bot who came in and won 2 fights 3 years prior, right? Even putting aside all the questionable stuff, that's
It
not
won,
really
3 fights.
that much of a record.
At least
I mean,
3, right?
it won 3 fights,
No.
and it did beat Sal.
Yeah,
yeah,
it
one
had
through fight.
Sal, Hypershock. It must be someone
And
else.
Mega
didn't it?
Tento. They beat
Mega
Mega
Tento, yeah.
Tento.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
they won that fight, but they shouldn't have. That's why I forgot.
They won that. They won that.
Yeah, I hate
that-
to agree with
that-
Zassa here.
Yeah, but
Of course you would.
anyway, to get back to my point there. So Copperhead, it's decent. It's got some expectations, but it's not really a name in the sport at that
Yeah.
point. Then there's Sidewinder, who we saw what happened with Sidewinder.
Forgot all
Yeah.
about Sidewinder.
Yeah.
Neat robot, but not really a contender of any kind. And then Tantrum, who again, would eventually go on to become a household name, but at that point wasn't really anything to
I
talk
just
about.
want to point out, if I recall correctly, at that point in time, Tantrum was 2-0. So this was
This is
would
correct.
be
It
Tantrum's
Tantrum was
prove
like
it match.
okay-ish this season.
It would be
Tantrum was
being
2-0.
2-0. So this would be
I
what
think they
Scorpius
beat
would be
Uppercut
Tantrum.
actually in a Rumble.
Yeah, it
Ta-
did beat
yeah.
Uppercut,
Beat-
yeah. So
And
Tantrum's
Gemini?
wins were like
They fought
it was
Gemini at this point?
Gemini
Yes.
and
Guys, that was something
I-
I was getting to. If you stop talking over me.
go on, mate.
Yeah,
So-
come on, Blaze.
come
on.
on.
The point I was getting to there, it really wasn't much of anything. Like, it had won its 2 fights, but neither of them was really that impressive. The Rumble didn't get televised. The Gemini fight was more of a showcase of the technology than anything else. And even afterwards, you had Chris and Kenny going like, "Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting take on a vert, but did it do anything?" And the answer was kind of no.
Yeah.
So
But,
that wasn't much of a huge point in Scorpius's favor. And then their last fight was again a rookie in Uppercut, who had beaten Mammoth and Breaker Box, who again were not anything special. Scorpius's schedule really did not reflect what a good robot it was at the time, and I think that kind of dragged it down because the loss to Uppercut was kind of a surprise loss. And yeah, Uppercut was a solid robot that was just up and coming at the time, but it doesn't really have anything to buoy its performance that season to counteract the weight of that loss to a rookie. They don't have any really strong wins that they can point at and say, yeah, but we did this. We beat Yeti, or we beat whoever.
Oh, they did
They
the
would-
cocaine tires.
They did have the cocaine tires. So, but yeah, I think that hurts Scorpius for me, is that they, their most impressive win by name that season, Copperhead, if you factor in Poison Arrow, was a fight where they were getting kicked around for quite a lot of it and had to wait until Copperhead just like threw out all its drive chains pretty much on its own and stopped moving before they could come in and attack it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
be fair, this was wasn't. Oh no, they were on the. Never mind. They were on the team in other seasons as well. But to be fair, this is what Zach and I believe it was Zach's first time driving
Zach's first time
Scorpius.
driving, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was at the very least his first time captaining. I don't remember off the top of my head if he drove that season or if Orion was still driving, because I know
I'm
Orion
pretty
was
sure
still
it was
with
Zach
the team.
driving.
I think Zach was
I
driving.
remember like it cuts to him in the control.
I don't remember off the top of my head which one drove. I just remember that Orion was still on the team, so I'm like, I don't know.
Orion was definitely driving the previous season.
Zach finally owned Scorpios this season, and it was Zach driving and Orion just sliding into the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then going on to drive hijinks.
Yeah.
The
Talk
goat of all
about a
time.
downgrade.
Which
Which is currently 14-0. Don't ask questions.
True.
This is true.
That's maybe that'll come to pass when we reseed World Championship 5.
If we do
But
that. Subscribe
yeah,
for more.
yeah,
Yes.
so that's kind of our like top half, and we had Valkyrie at 16, and then we've kind of done all the like non-Mickey Mouse 3-in-1s. So our kind of next section is
Non-Mickey
very interesting because it's like the really good 2-in-2 robots and Minotaur. I'm going to pronounce it that way for as long as I remember.
Oh, God damn it.
And yeah, so it's kind of interesting how you rank these, I think, because like I think there's kind of two categories for the 2-in-2s here, where it's like you've got the 2-in-2s that have got a really, really singular big win, being Rotator and Gigabyte, and then
Mhm.
you've got the kind of 2-in-2s that were very good, just like a bit subjectively from their performance and just from like a decent strength of schedule, but don't have like an amazing win. That's Quantum and Blacksmith. So our seedings kind of reflect that. So we've got Valkyrie at 16 after Scorpius at 15.
Well, hey, I
and
was gonna say
then-
you forgot to include Minotaur itself in that list there.
Yeah, no, I was just about to list it off. So,
actually,
so
Minotaur
like
is not 2 and
we've
2.
got like Rotator at 17, Gigabyte at 18, Minotaur 19, splitting up these kind of two categories in like inverted commas or whatever, and then Quantum 20 and Blacksmith 21. So yeah, how do you guys feel about how kind of this turned out?
I agree with every part of the list, honestly.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think one of the things I'm happy about is like you have like Minotaur and Gigabyte right next to each other, and like I think there's a strong argument for having Minotaur seated above Gigabyte, but like it is just straight up Gigabyte beat Minotaur, so you just like if they're right next to each other and seated, you kind of have to lean Gigabyte.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We
I
did
think
have
I
a
would.
small discussion about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
I'd-
did,
that's
I'd
yeah.
also-
where I was going to go because
I'd
I
also-
would probably put Minotaur above Gigabyte, but still below Rotator, to be honest.
I would like to point out that Gigabyte's 2 wins were Minotaur and Huge.
That is
and-
not
No,
true.
they lost.
You are.
The win
Wait.
was Kronos. They
Oh,
lost
yeah.
to Huge.
Why did I think they beat Huge? I'm stupid.
They
Thinking
lost
of-
to
Well, this was
Huge.
kind of
Thinking
going to be
of
my
Star
point, right?
Child.
'Cause,
Okay. Yeah, no,
like,
never mind.
especially after
Put Minotaur.
Huge-
Put Minotaur
Sorry,
over Gigabyte. I'm fucking stupid. Go. Get out of
No,
there.
I think.
Screwed us
Well, here's
up,
the
man.
thing. Here's the thing. Minotaur is definitely not above Rotator, and Gigabyte is most certainly above Quantum. So if you have them right next to each other, it
Just
would
switch 'em.
feel. It would just
Yeah, it would be like
feel wrong to put a bot below, like right below a bot you beat, right?
Well, not if they're on other sides of the bracket.
Not necessarily.
No. I mean, like in seating wise,
Yeah.
it would feel wrong to be below the bot you beat because you did beat them.
I'll be
I mean,
I'll be honest.
you can say that, Blaze, but Railgun Max is a robot that we're gonna have to talk about eventually.
Okay,
So
but they also
Broad Gun
have
Max.
they have what the same. They have basically the same record because
They're both 500, but Minotaur's had one
have
fight.
Yeah,
Well,
both
fight more,
Minotaur had more fights, right?
Yeah.
But Gigabyte, it did again. It
But
beat
the
Minotaur.
the point that I'm making though is that you can beat a robot and still be seated lower than that robot if
I'm
you
not
did worse
saying-
overall.
I'm not saying, but Gigabyte didn't do worse overall. Their 2 losses are to Huge and Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor is the number 2 seed. Just straight up, Witch Doctor is one of the best robots.
Gigabyte did fine, but also Kronos is a weak win. Minotaur had some extra wins there. Minotaur has
beat
that,
Lucky, bro.
yeah, and I'd count that as better than Kronos at that point.
Kronos.
I
will say Kronos.
I
did
agree. I feel
beat
like
as
Minotaur's
top
Desperado
ahead.
wins, especially with quality.
As the biggest Kronos stan, you'll probably find that wasn't on Team Think Tank. it was mediocre at best. Like I love the thing. I think it's underrated, but it was still mediocre.
I do want to point out that Chrono. I will say, I think. I mean, 2019 Cronus was not bad. Like, it wasn't.
No,
It wasn't great.
okay.
It
It
did
was.
the
It was.
Copperhead thing one time.
Yeah, it beat Copperhead, bro. In
Why,
fact,
very
it
impressive.
beat
We were
Bottom.
just talking about how
itself,
Cuphead
snapped
was.
itself in half doing that. So
But hey, it was a good hit, right?
It was a
I
good
think
hit.
it's also
John Reed would
important
be
to remember
proud.
that that thing Zassa was talking about kind of the flow of the bot's performance throughout the season. Early Minotaur had issues, like the Whiplash
Yeah.
fight and then the Gigabyte fight as well with that weird silver drum.
Just dragging
Minotaur
on the floor.
recovered from that very, very strongly, and
Mhm.
they were on a very strong upward swing throughout their season.
Mhm.
Whereas for Gigabyte, it was just kind of like middling here and there. Even though they did
Yeah, it was-
beat Minotaur, that was a version of Minotaur that we just sort of didn't see for the rest of the season.
And,
Yeah.
and
So
also,
I think an early season win is somewhat irrelevant for late season seeding.
Mhm.
I
I don't know. I don't agree that it's irrelevant, but I
Mhm.
kind of but I agree that like the actual win that Gigabyte got versus
Mhm.
Minotaur wasn't that. Hey, I did it that way that time.
There you go.
That
there you go.
that win wasn't particularly impressive. Like it was mostly just
It was-
Minotaur couldn't get the drum working. I was struggling with
Yeah.
it the whole fight.
Yeah.
Like Gigabyte's hits weren't particularly
My
big,
my
and
my
the shell even stopped spinning with about a minute to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Like
my
Gigabyte's
it
my
teeth
was
snapped off.
my
in the
point
domineering.
is my point is though is that if they are seated right next to each other,
I don't think that should matter.
no, it does.
I
It does.
agree.
If
I
Gigabyte
don't
was
think it
seated
matters.
below freaking Blacksmith, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But they're right next to each other,
Why does
and
that matter
why
though?
does it
What
matter?
did Blacksmith do?
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. Blacksmith is seated a lot lower than Minotaur is, right?
Well, they're also going to be just in completely different parts of the bracket, so they're just not going
That's
to
not.
interact.
No,
systematically.
that's not what I'm. You're not hearing what I'm saying. So the reason why this is big is because unless like I can understand Minotaur, having an up and up, going better as the season goes on, but also Gigabyte again, its losses are to two of the highest. Not, well, first of all, it lost to Witch Doctor. Like, yeah, it
Right.
Yeah,
didn't
you can't
do
fault them there.
amazing.
Okay.
Amazing there. Compared to, again,
I mean, they
I
didn't really
will.
do that much in the Witch Doctor fight, though.
Let me just
That
point.
is.
They did nothing. In the
Yeah, I
Hang
know.
on.
Yeah, that was just
Before
I-
we dive in too deeply, I wanna bring up another aspect of what I was talking about earlier with the performance over the course of a season.
Mhm.
Is that part of that also depends on past performance. When you see Minotaur start the season struggling and start to improve as it goes on, you can kind of trust that it's not just a fluke and that they've got things under control because they've been here before. They made the semifinals in their debut, they made it to the finals the year after. They'd been doing robo games for a long time. They very clearly knew what they were doing, they had a handle on it. Gigabyte is a little bit of a different story. Their past season was also pretty mediocre, had some reliability issues. They'd done some competitions in China and were very good, but against a generally lower level
Tier
of
opponents.
competition. As much
Well,
as
to-
much as
to
I
be-
love King of
China
Bots,
sucks. You heard it here first from him.
to
but
be fair, with the whole like Gigabyte, if I recall correctly, Gigabyte went 2-2, but their first fight was against Tombstone, and they didn't do horribly. They just
I mean, the shell got torn off.
yeah,
Chinesium, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that was shame.
I mean, if you're gonna wave away Chinesium, like it's like we have Minotaurs like struggling in the first two.
No, I'm
first
not. I'm not
two.
saying to wave it away. I'm saying, like, I'm still like saying Gigabyte was not didn't do horribly. Again, its first fight was Tombstone, right?
I'm not super concerned about it losing to Tombstone. Like losing to Tombstone at that point in time, you can shrug your shoulders and go like, yeah, okay, it's Tombstone. It
And
happens.
it was a season ago.
Move on.
There also lost to Tombstone in that season.
Yeah, I was gonna say what concerns me more is that as the season went on, right, it had that fight with Brutus. That certainly
Shenanigan
happened.
fight.
It lost to Lucky. It crapped out in the Last Chance Rumble, and then in the exhibition, it broke down against Duck. You know,
I can't remember
like
what the fight happened. Honestly,
it's definitely a solid mid-tier robot. It had some solid performances throughout the first couple of years of the reboot era there, but it wasn't really a consistent performer. So going into the bracket at 2-2, where it's had some okay wins and some okay losses and some ups and downs, and you don't it's really inconsistent at that point, and it's hard to tell what exactly are we going to get out of this robot once it's in the bracket there.
Yeah,
So
I think you should give it a bit more credit for its wins. I think it did fundamentally beat Minotaur, but again, the reason that that's impressive is because Minotaur is so good. And so honestly, I'm kind of up for swapping. I'm kind of up for putting Minotaur higher. I don't know okay. In the call, how many people want to put Minotaur higher?
I think I have to vote for Minotaur because I think the basis of my entire argument for Gigabyte is just straight up Gigabyte beat Minotaur, they should be above them. But like weighing in prestige, weighing in just the course and narrative of the season, and just how good were your fights, I think I kind of have to lean Gigabyte. I mean Minotaur. I have to lean Minotaur.
Yeah.
He said Gigabyte. He said Gigabyte. He's leaning Gigabyte, guys.
Yeah,
I think that's. Yeah.
I don't know who this Minotaur fella is, but I'm definitely in favor of voting Minotaur over Gigabyte.
I mean, if I'm outvoted, I'm outvoted. I won't make a fuss about it. I just
factoring in
I've always
all of
been.
it. Plus,
we're putting Minotaur higher.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I've slightly lied to you viewers then. In that case,
Right.
recap: 16 Valkyrie, 17 Rotator, 18 Minotaur. / Minotaur if you're a disgusting American.
If you're
19
cool.
Gigabyte, 20 Quantum, and 21.
Like the video if you want to blow up the British Isles.
True.
That's
Make
how
sure
we go
to hit
viral.
that bell icon and turn on notifications.
Pretty sure Ireland
So we
tried
can
that
blow
one
up
time.
the British Isles.
Still, that's get rid of all of them.
We're doing the troubles again.
So 21 Blacksmith, and then afterwards we've got 22 Railgun Max, 23 Bloodsport, and then we've got what I like to call the kind of potential man trio of 3 vertical spinners who've got a lot of destructive power, but some serious issues throughout the season, which is number 24 Endgame, 25 Cobalt, and 26 Copperhead. I think we're a little bit short on time, so I think just kind of briefly touch on these 3 guys. These 3 all had very interesting seasons, I thought.
Yeah.
I think Endgame for me at least is the clear number 1 out of the group.
I agree.
Just because, again, I think it had some experience being at Battlebots, and then it had its issues coming into the season, and it started to work through those, and it didn't fully get rid of them until the end of the season. But I think that it had that rising tide that Copperhead. Copperhead kind of had one similarly, but wasn't in the same boat, so to speak. And Cobalt was kind of on a downturn after coming in very hype and not really living up to that.
The Duck loss put some fear into him.
Yeah, I think the Endgame loss is their big bugbear at this point, because obviously they haven't fought Minotaur in this hypothetical, because obviously
but
there's around 32, there's no qualifiers.
We're all. Well, we should clarify that for the viewers. We're all ignoring the play-in episode that happened. We're not factoring that in when we're talking about this.
That would mess
everything up. Also, we are not factoring in like bots that hypothetically dropped out, like Gigabyte dropped out, and Texas Twister was asked to be in the plans. We have Texas Twister in here, so we're just straight up ignoring if a bot would theoretically not be able to actually fight.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, back to the point about Cobalt there. I mean, think about its schedule was Sub-Zero. Do I in 2019 do I really need to say anything about Sub-Zero?
They beat
I-
P1,
Say-
bro.
I
Please say
honestly
everything
thought
about Sub-Zero.
it got 0 wins until I like checked on World Championship 4 earlier today.
Yeah, it's Sub-Zero, was
So-
starting to build that potential in season 4, but it wasn't there yet, and it got shredded. And it was a good destructive display for Cobalt.
Yeah,
Like
It was a good start.
they really earned that most destructive award that season.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, subpar
Rip off
0.
then
Duck as
but-
well.
yeah, I was gonna say then you have Duck, who again good destructive display, but the method of loss is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I do think
Oy.
with Cobalt though, it does have the kind of Black Dragon thing where they kind of maybe should be 3-1 rather than 2-2, which is why they're in the potential man
Mhm.
part, right?
I
go.
guess, but I also think that you can counterbalance that by saying, well, in theory, if it hadn't happened there, it could have happened at any time. Technically, it could have happened against Sub-Zero if they were really unlucky or they were far enough back in the schedule
did,
for
actually.
filming. Did it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
there
did,
was
yeah.
a moment where they kind of got halted for. I think then Sub-Zero like bumped them or something.
That would have
Oh,
been
Could have
Also-
been
really
the
funny.
Funniest thing ever.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cobalt
my
comes
goodness.
in after winning
What?
This Is Fighting Robots and
Yeah.
gets beaten by Sub-Zero. That would have been
Sub-Zero, the
Stellar.
goat.
beaten by the
Sub-Zero,
floor.
the hero we didn't need.
Jerry Clarkin grabs the mic and goes, "This is for white painted flippers everywhere. I'm talking to you, Apollo."
Kanche, Apollo, Saber,
Yeah.
all of those names.
That's
I'm
gonna be
doing this for
episode
my homie.
39. What if episode 39 is gonna be what if Tanche was in World Championship 4?
Let's
Ooh,
go.
boy.
2 and 2.
I would like to
But-
I would like to do something like that, yeah.
So yeah, then we move on to Bombshell, who, it should be pointed out, got a double KO against them the first time they filmed that fight. They had to reshoot it because it was over in like 5 seconds.
Wait, really? I didn't know this.
I
actually,
did not know
what?
about this one.
What?
I don't remember exactly where this is from, but I remember hearing about this during the season filming from one of the teams who was there talking about like they had to reshoot the fight because they hit each other and Bombshell either flipped over or died or something, and Cobalt got stuck, and so both teams were like, yeah, let's go take our bots out, fix them, and do it again later because they wanted something better. And then the same thing kind of happened, but this time Cobalt was mobile, so they were like, "Yeah, okay, we'll count it."
Wow,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Didn't,
also-
correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Bombshell originally want to go with the horizontal against Cobalt as well?
They did for some bizarre
What?
reason.
I think they thought Cobalt had snipeable parts, but it kind of doesn't.
It's like the
I
entire
don't-
point of Cobalt.
I'm assuming that the point was to attack the weapon mounting up top, but like,
Mhm.
no, no.
I think it's too tall for that.
Cobalt is
Their
made
historically bad
no
horizontal is not going to be
horizontals.
doing anything to the robot designed to beat Carbide.
Hey, I mean, to be fair, the last time they fought Cobalt, they did beat it with the horizontal. Just saying, hey, trust me, it would happen again. Trust. That's why Bombshell.
They're
That's
gonna
why Bombshell
snipe
went
the
0-4.
tires.
Actually, the
That's
real
like-
reason that Bombshell used the vert is that Bombshell and Cobalt, when they fight, their spinners actually have to be on the same plane. You know, they're not allowed. They're not like, it has to be horizontal versus horizontal, vert versus vert.
Yeah.
It's about the
Bombshell.
statement.
Bombshell coming back in World Championship 8 with a diagonal spinner just to make John Mladnick sweat.
Also, follow up on earlier, Cobalt did actually get completely stuck after beating Sub-Zero. They were gyro dancing and then landed on a piece of Sub-Zero bits and
Oh,
got
that's
stuck.
really funny.
You can
Yeah.
never escape floor problems.
Golden.
So they
Sounds
were
about
they
right.
were doing their little victory dance. They got stuck doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but
Alright.
Sub-Zero's already counted out at that point.
Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
they
And
did get
the-
stuck. That's a very very important thing to know.
Alright.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
their
it's-
fourth fight, ironically, against Endgame, the robot we're comparing it to, which I talked about it earlier before we started recording. It wasn't necessarily a bad fight. It just took Endgame a while to orient itself because season 4 Endgame
Mhm.
had its myriad of problems, but whenever they finally did orient themselves, get the spinner going, it was a
Mhm.
quick and very violent KO.
Yes,
And-
and it's
and
also worth
actually-
noting Cobalt did absolutely nothing in that fight. I mean, they
Yeah,
were they got the side of
Cobalt
Endgame
got to the
several
side
times.
and just
Yeah, even
bumped on
before
it.
even while Endgame was drunkenly dancing around, they had lost the wedgelet by that point. They just kind of
Yeah.
ran into the side and hoped it would do something, and it did not.
Yeah,
I would
Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
Hmm.
That fight is kind of embarrassing for Cobalt in that aspect.
It's
because
so
it is just-
embarrassing.
you have a robot who's barely moving, and you just can't do anything to capitalize. It's so hard for me to root for Cobalt.
I obviously I do like to root for Cobalt, but yeah, I agree with you. It's a hard
Yeah.
robot to root for sometimes.
Godspeed would
Even if
never.
it does do those amazing
True.
hits. Yeah. So to kind of round out our sort of top 32, where it's a 25 Cobalt, 26 Copperhead. We kind of got a few more sort of
Hey, hang on, I
two
didn't.
and
I didn't
twos. We
agree
got like
to this.
20, 27. Well, you should have shown up earlier then.
Should have,
shouldn't you?
yeah.
We were still talking through everything. I thought that whole group was Copperhead over
No.
Cobalt.
It was just I just meant like these three, like Duck,
Oh.
like Duck, Texas Twister, are like they've got like low. I feel like lower peaks, and but
Mhm.
also
Yeah.
maybe basically got lower peaks. So like Duck, Texas Twister, free shipping had sort of fairly okay seasons, we thought,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of Ribot Shatter had kind of dodgy ones. And then there's also kind of the sort of last spot, which has been like I think most of us had kind of somewhat different ideas about who should take it. We ended up with Gruff, which is kind of the one I wanted. So
I
that's
want to
big.
fight for
Some
Tantrum
people,
real
some
quick.
people like some
I
people.
knew it was coming.
There was
Of
some
course
talk
you do.
of Tantrum. I don't know if Zassa wanted to advocate for Warhawk. Yeah. So
Okay, let's.
so
Yeah,
who gets
you
the-
I know you made a joke earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Who gets
made
this
a
last
joke about
spot?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think it should have been in over Gruff, but I think that Tantrum makes more sense overall. Actually, you know what?
I want to
Actually,
defend Tantrum.
you know what?
because-
No, I take it back. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I
Well,
see how it
then
is.
go.
No, I remembered like, oh yeah, Warhawk made the bracket last season, so it should probably get a little bit more leeway as a week 2 and 2.
Oh, they were 2 and were they 2 and 2?
What?
They're 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I mean they were
Okay.
in the Desperado,
Okay.
but
They were one
same-
and with the Desperado, yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll say their loss in the Desperado was very, very unlucky. If we're talking about Gruff still.
no,
Yeah.
we're talking,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
Warhawk-
I wouldn't even call that unlucky. Gruff losing to Endgame, like it was kind of getting kicked around by Endgame, and its only saving grace was that Endgame was nigh immobile because it was 2019 Endgame.
Yeah,
And
Gruff got like pringled instantly,
it-
and they just were not
it-
driving straight for the rest of the fight.
it did whenever they happened to crab walk so that their lifter was on Endgame's wedgelets, it was able to hook them and kind of throw it around, which is a really funny design interaction,
funny.
I think. But it really wasn't doing very much in retaliation for the ass kicking it was receiving. And I think it probably would have lost very, very easily on points. And, then it got stuck in the kill saws, which saved it the
Mhm.
embarrassment of losing on a JD. And,
I will say though,
let them
that's
claim
by-
that we could have won.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do see a point there, but I think that's by far Gruff's worst loss in the season because
I
the Copperhead fight was a split JD. Like, they put up a decent fight against Copperhead, potential man number 2, and obviously there's the
There's a
really
Tombstone
really
fight.
good performance against Tombstone. Yeah.
There's a Tombstone fight, and I will
was-
say
yeah,
Ruff's
which was, like,
performance against Tombstone is
good,
better
very
than
close.
anything Tantrum did.
Yeah, it's better
Genuinely.
than anything any other robot that we haven't already said is, and honestly, is
Yeah.
better than anything any robot like did below maybe. Well, didn't Copperhead have a pretty good win? What was Copperhead's best win?
Copperhead.
Warhawk with an Uda?
Warhawk?
Yeah,
Uda
it's probably
Warhawk?
it's
Because it's
probably
not
better
gonna
than.
be Bro.
They got stuck behind the screws. It wasn't really a true Uda.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I remember.
A Truda,
Okay,
if you will.
then it's better than anything that anything that any of the robots above it did up to like Cobalt eviscerating Sub-Zero or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was such a good performance, and I
Mhm.
feel like it gets them out of the. I think they can sneak in as a 1 and 3 because of it for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do kind of see the argument there of like, again, their best performance was their last one. They stood up to Tombstone.
That's true.
who's,
There on your upswing
former.
you love so much.
Yeah, I think that is a very good argument. I do think that the counter argument is that literally every time they fought a spinner, their body got pringled and they were kind of driving around on half their wheels. Did
that happen in the
Actually,
Rumble?
Marvin's a spinner, and so is
Well,
Gemini.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. When they so let me reiterate.
Absolutely
Point
destroyed.
Let me
Logic.
reiterate. When they fight a spinner, an actual
Non-incestuous,
spinner,
non-plastic spinners.
No. You're right. They fought 3 spinners in that Rumble, so therefore they didn't fight 1 spinner. I see
Yeah.
your point.
Blaze understands the English language. No, but I think that it's a fair point to make that when they were getting beat up so badly in each of their attempts, it's kind of a question of like, was were they really doing as good as they looked surviving, or were they just kind of barely hanging on by a thread?
Yeah,
I think like that is straight up why Gruff lost a decision. Was that they lifted and controlled Tombstone, but like in
One
terms of
lift,
just
by
like
the way.
affecting Tombstone was still
And, like-
getting hits in. They're still getting licks in, and
Yeah.
like Gruff's side armor is just it got pringled. To quote Zassa, like
The whole robot.
At the end of
Yeah,
it.
the whole robot, the whole chassis was twisted up, and they were
Mhm.
not in a good state.
Corral
so-
and horizontal as it hangs
Flamethrower
around
was
isn't
gone,
really controlling a fight, to be honest. I mean, it was a great
Yeah.
fight, but it wasn't. I think Gruff's performance. It's kind of similar to Hypershock versus Bite Force, where it's like it survived and kind of did one thing. Therefore, we think highly of
yeah.
it.
I think
but like
that
to be fair, that's still better than anything Tantrum did.
That
Oh, of
is
course,
really
yeah.
true.
I definitely agree with you on that. That it was superior to Tantrum in that regard. I think the best we can say about the Tombstone fight there, from a like selection committee perspective, is that it guaranteed Gruff a spot in the next season. Like, it
That's-
wasn't
that's fair.
really going to make bracket because it was getting beaten up by all these spinners, but it was.
Mhm.
It put on such an exciting and memorable performance that they were like, okay, we want to see this guy come back and see if they can make a better robot, and then they couldn't. But
Yeah, true. Okay.
the attempt was there.
Can I?
Spin.
Okay. Can I just ask you, Spin and Zazza, real quick? I just want to ask, why? So, why do you guys think Are you on Tantrum or Warhawk? But
I'm Team Tantrum. I'm Team Tantrum. But just
I was initially gonna back Tantrum, and then I gave it 2 seconds of thought and said, know what? No, Warhawk it is.
okay.
Warhawk
Let's.
All right, I want to see the
okay,
arguments first.
Okay.
I wanna
Before
defend
we do. Okay. Before we do anything, let's start with Spin. Let's start with you, and you talk about why you think Tantrum should be in over Gruff.
I would say I think Gruff deserves an in. But the bot I would have taken out is Shatter, honestly, because I think it was given a chance against like 2 high functioning robots. It got eaten up by Minotaur, and then against Witch Doctor, it kind of just got lucky that Witch Doctor was having problems and issues and just sort of burnt out on its own. But Tantrum,
just like
I
Kraken.
feel like Tantrum in
Cracking
2019
him.
sort of gets like a bad rep. It struggled with Bite a lot, but I think specifically against Gemini, which Gruff also fought Gemini, and Tantrum did so much better because it killed half of Gemini. It killed the black Gemini, and by the end of the
Wow,
fight,
Racist?
red Gemini was crab walked. All
Racist?
weapons dead on the Geminis, by the way.
Something
Like,
I
it-
would like to point out with the thing you said about Shatter crapping the bed against two actually good robots is that Tantrum did the exact same thing. It did absolutely nothing against worse robots than Shatter fought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did nothing to
Yeah.
Scorpios, and it did even worse against Yeti.
Yeah.
I see the argument, but then
It just
Tantrum
did
did
not
the
quite
exact same
well even
thing
against
against
Minotaur.
worse robots.
I
Yeah.
think the thing that makes me like say, oh, but like Tantrum over Shatter is the fact that Shatter just has Kingpin in its like start the schedule is just
Okay.
awful. Like say what
Okay.
you want against Gemini, but like Gemini moves.
Shatter was
Now
able
it's-
to Shatter was able to dispatch of Kingpin rather quickly and dominantly. And I think the big difference
True.
between Shatter and Tantrum is that Shatter's weapon was almost always a play in like their fights, and that's your primary weapon.
No, no.
Whereas Tantrum's
That's
weapon was
true.
always a question mark of whether or not it even did anything.
Mhm.
So the weapon use, I think, is very important in fight performance, and Shatter always had that.
Yeah, even against
Shatter,
um,
even in their
Minotaur's quite
losses
hits.
too, it did something. Like against
Yeah, it
Wind
was-
Doctor, it
Yes.
didn't get many hits, but
fair.
it took those hits like a champ and
It was
survived.
smacking Minotaur
until
pretty good, to be honest. It
Witch
poked
Doctor
him in
nearly
holes.
killed itself, and yeah, it
Witch
sure
Doctor
it
had
had
a Witch Doctor
lessened
moment.
hammer power against Minotaur, but it still got a ton of hits in.
Mhm.
Like they
Yeah.
lost those fights, but by no means did they just sit there and take it, like Tantrum did against Scorpios and Yeti, where they didn't get a single hit in.
You know
Yeah.
what? Yeah. That's fair. I'm a strong Tantrum season 4 defender, but like it's very clear
Isn't
that I
Tantrum
don't
your
win these
favorite
fights.
robot, Spin?
No, it's not. It's
Thank God.
It's up
probably
there.
Tombstone? Question mark.
Tantrum. I know Tantrum's up there for you though.
It's up there. It's my favorite
Ta-
championship run,
ta-
but that doesn't
ta-
really play much of a factor in
Ta-
season 4.
Tantrum is absolutely a top 5 robot of all time for me, but
Yeah.
it definitely did not earn a seat in
Yeah.
2019.
All right,
Alright.
Zassa, do you want to make your
Also, I
War
will
Vault
say that I
poll?
rewatched their fight with Uppercut and Jasper, and it is awful. I forgot how awful of a win that was for Tantrum.
I was gonna point
Because
that out
Uppercut
eventually.
just
They're
killed itself, and its weapon didn't work in that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
Alright.
gonna point that
Right
out.
the
Their
whole time being
win,
stuck on Jasper.
quote unquote, was Mickey Mouse to the max.
Alright. Enough about Tantrum. Alright, Zazza, why don't you share with the class why you think Warhawk should be in Overgruff?
Well, I have a few reasons, and I will admit, because I know that sometimes people get a little uppity about this thing, but the legacy of it coming in from having already been in the bracket in the previous season, I think that helps. It's experience. It's experience. It contributes to their ability to actually make it through. Same thing they did the Desperado, and Gruff did it too, but Warhawk actually won a fight there, so that's important. But it shows that they can function on tight timetables. Their losses were to pretty good robots, right? Hydra and Black Dragon are both very good robots, and then Copperhead, which is another one that Gruff lost to. But Hydra and Black Dragon together outweigh Tombstone and Endgame, I think. And
probably.
I think that it generally, in terms of the wins, A, it had more of them than Gruff did, but B, it generally performed better in those wins. It got some really meaty hits on Ragnarok when it was able to hit them, and Petunia it kind of flung around a little bit, even if that fight wasn't great because they were both having some mobility issues. But they were still much more capable opponents, I think, than Gemini and Marvin. So I think overall, Warhawk makes more sense to be in the bracket.
Can I address the losses argument that you made about Black Dragon and Hydra outweighing what was it
Tombstone
and Endgame?
Yeah.
If you're looking at it from a purely strength of schedule perspective, I agree with you. But if you're looking at for the net contribution of what they did in those losses as a whole, maybe not obviously, I really, really do not agree with you. Like, didn't Warhawk just kind of get destroyed in its losses? Like, I think it got a few sparks.
They-
It
from
was
it.
taking Hydra.
They,
It-
they
it-
were
it-
taking it to
yeah.
Hydra for a little bit. I
Yeah.
was always
Mhm.
pretty impressed
But
with that.
like,
They gave Hydra a run for their money for a little
I
bit.
did. Okay,
I-
one for their money is very generous. They threw a little bit of sparks, and then
Let me
got-
They got
say
under,
say
Fulham
this.
got like a bite on
If-
the side of Hydra.
If Warhawk had not been having receiver issues the entire season, they would have beaten Hydra. I'm gonna say that on record right now.
Oh, I
Alright.
I agree. I agree with
Alright.
Zaza. I agree with Zaza.
Alright.
I rewatched the fight recently. Warstop was putting in work against
Alright.
Hydra.
Alright,
It's a bit-
guys.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, guys, comment down below. Do you think if Warhawk didn't have receiver issues, do you think they would have beaten Hydra?
That's a good question. Yeah.
It definitely would have
but
chewed them up.
ultimately,
Like the
they
two
are
viewers
having
will
receiver
agree with us,
issues.
surely.
I thi-
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think I
And
think
then we're
the
like,
I think the mistake that you're making, Nametab, is substituting how much of a fight they put up with how much they got beat up before they actually lost the fight. Like by that metric, yeah, Gruff looks like it's doing more because it's taking more hits overall, but it's meant to be a tank, right? That's what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's doing what it's
I see
supposed
where
to
you're
do
coming
compared
from,
to
but I still
Warhawk, which
don't agree
Warhawk
with
was
you.
not doing what Warhawk was supposed to be doing, to be fair, though.
It
It
was
was
like
just
one.
getting there menacingly because of the receiver issues.
Yeah, yeah. I was
also
gonna say
think,
a lot of that came down to several issues, but
Back to that weapon use thing. Again, Warhawk's weapon, even though they had a hard time delivering, did just do more than Gruff's weapon. I mean, Gruff
Mhm.
was barely getting
No,
one
didn't
lift
Gruff
per
get, like-
fight.
It got like a couple of like. Didn't it get like a full like suplex or something?
Yeah,
Against
one.
Jimson?
They hooked one of
One.
him.
Okay, yeah, but
remember.
Warhawk like didn't get a proper
Didn't,
big hit on Hydra.
um,
It got like a few sparks.
No,
No, they were
only
doing
didn't,
some damage on
um,
Hydra. Their
ground.
skirts were chewed up, and
They
they
got
were,
some
like,
airtime
yeah.
on Hydra.
yeah.
No,
Wait,
I don't
wait,
think
Hydra
they
is
got
actually
airtime.
quite
They might have chewed up the
And
skirts.
Petunia as well. Like Petunia.
Hydra-
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did against Petunia, but
Petunia
we're like,
went
if-
flying.
Tombstone
Yeah.
didn't.
They also
I know-
did. They sent Ragnarok flying a few times.
That's
Well,
Ragnarok.
that's also
well, I thought
Ragnarok.
we were just comparing.
I
was
would
just
probably
comparing
send them
the two
flying.
losses, but-
Well, they're
didn't,
250 pounds and you're a twink, so I don't know about that. But
I'm a bear, actually.
I don't
You're
believe you. I can hear your voice. I don't believe you.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Just because we are not like extremely short on time, but like just
A little bit,
obviously-
yeah. I think
yeah.
we've got sort of 20 more minutes, and we'll do a couple of the like round of 30.
I think we'll probably do like the first half of the round of 32 this episode.
Yeah.
When I say first half, I mean like the first half of the round of 32. So like the first 8
Yeah.
fights. All right.
On so many debates
We do have to decide though on.
That's
Gruff
that.
versus
I am
Warhawk,
getting.
though.
I am getting there. All right. All right. All in favor of Gruff being the 32 seed, say aye.
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 All right. All in
Traitors.
favor of Warhawk saying all in favor of Warhawk being 32 seed.
I
All right. I believe that is Gruff being the 32 seed. All right.
It's so free. I do
Alright.
see
I
the
would
argument.
say
To be
one
honest,
thing-
like
Oh,
I would. be happy
I
with
do.
Gruff
I
there.
do think
So I would
either.
put Warhawk there.
let me
Yeah,
just
I
ask.
think it is
Let me
debatable.
just ask out of curiosity, Blaze. Were you also voting for Gruff, or did you just not? vote?
I did. I just straight up did not vote. Just
Okay.
because if I hypothetically voted for, let's say, to be fair, my vote would have been for Warhawk. Probably you did sway me, but I decided to abstain from voting just to avoid a tie
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah, that's valid. I just wanted to know.
That's doing literally anything to feel validated on his Warhawk opinion.
I mean, he did. I will say you did convince
It
me.
was a good argument. Yeah, I
it
do
was
think it's a good argument. Like I don't
Let
I'm not
me-
like,
let
oh,
me-
that's a stupid idea to put Warhawk in.
Let me be very clear about something, Nametab. It wasn't that I wanted to be validated on my pro Warhawk arguments. It's that I wanted to be validated on my anti Gruff arguments.
All right, here. Let me take a
Hating.
screenshot.
That's so toxic.
All right. Let's do the
Just an enemy of
left
my enemy is
side
my friend.
of the round of 32. All right. So if you guys want to quickly go to VC text chat, there you go.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
So
So I'll start with the Let's start with Coughing Baby versus Hydrogen Bomb real quick. Bite Force
let's
versus
get
Gruff.
this one out the way.
Guys, I think Gruff. I think Gruff
I
might.
wonder.
I think Gruff might
Interestingly
win
enough,
this.
I think I could see Gruff actually stalemating their front end for a second if they go
Yeah.
head to head, similar
No,
to
they,
how
they
they
totally
longer.
could, and
Nothing-
it would be so funny, and it would happen like 3 times, and then nothing else would happen.
Yeah,
in the fight.
that's
No,
about
no,
all
you
I'll
know-
give Gruff. I think
No.
they'll stalemate their
I
front end for a while.
I very much disagree. I think they stalemate once, and then I think Bite Force unironically would probably kill. I think they would kill Gruff. Honestly, like I know this might just be me being like so like anti like Gruff durability from freaking World Championship 7, 6, and 5, but like
I like that you
They're-
listed them backwards.
yeah, exactly. But like again, I don't. Okay, I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna get this. I think we're all in agreement that Gruff loses, right? Gruff
Well,
gets
yeah,
of course
absolutely
Gruff
bodied.
loses,
No,
but I
but
think,
whoever-
I think some
hear
funny
me
stuff
out,
happens
though.
before it
Kicked out.
loses.
Yes.
I think it does a singular funny thing where it jams the lifter right into the spinner chain and lifts Bite Force up, and then it can't do it again because it's been out of shape and it spends the rest
Yeah,
of its fight
pretty much
getting
just the
beaten up.
monsoon fight.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
would
I think
totally hook
Battlebots
onto
is
all
gonna
that
use the
triangular
clip
stuff
of
on Bite
Gruff.
Force.
I think Battlebots is gonna use a clip of Gruff just like getting their lifter in the spinner of Bite Force, or just like slightly pushing them and using that to justify World Championship 8 acceptance for Gruff. Like remember that one time they pushed Bite Force an inch?
True.
This is undeniable proof of a household name.
Okay, so that's a
Alright.
shocking Bite Force advancement. Now
Alright,
we've got to the real main.
now we
Big
got
upset.
now we get the
This is
interesting
Valkyrie
fight.
versus Rotator.
This
Val-
is a really nice one.
I think Rotator this season because they have. I think.
I'm with you,
Well,
Blaze. I think this is Rotator.
Actually-
This
The
isn't
triangular
Valkyrie.
wedge really
The
helped them
triangular
there,
wedge is
Nathan.
really good, but didn't they
So-
retire the triangle wedge because they kept retiring their chassis? Because
So-
I know they retired it for a reason. They don't have it for a reason, obviously.
They retired it because it was super expensive to repair and replace.
Oh yeah,
I'm trying to remember. I think it was titanium, but I don't remember off the top of my
I
head.
think that's right,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was. That's why it was so many sparks when Tombstone was hitting it. But yeah, it was really expensive, and I'm pretty sure that they had to retire it after Tombstone specifically.
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure that they would have it ready for Valkyrie. Like they might, but I'm not positive, and I don't know what the replacement would be.
I mean,
I feel like they'd try and
would-
cobble it together, to be honest, for just because if it was
Yeah,
there,
that's fair.
if it's
Yeah,
your
but I'm
comeback
just
for the
saying, like-
season and you've been, but yeah, I understand why you've
Yeah.
got some doubt there. Yeah,
Yeah, because I don't know if they would have been able to repair it like on site in time or whatever.
yeah,
I
That's
don't know.
Yeah, welding
fair.
tie is very time consuming.
Yeah, maybe. What hypothetically would they run? Would we just assume they run like the double discs or something?
there's no way they'd run the double.
I don't think they
I
would.
don't think they would do that because they don't really have a need for a top one, and the smaller
Yeah.
one would kind of like lose every engagement.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
actually,
But
wait.
they went
Okay,
around
no,
for-
yeah.
Honestly?
You're right, double disc.
because
What,
2019 Rotator was pretty weedy in terms of weapons. So
Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
right.
Their
I
weapon.
agree. I'm just trying to figure out like if they don't run the
Yeah,
triangle
yeah,
wedge,
that's-
what do
that's
they
kinda-
run?
that's kind of my issue. Is I have no idea what they would do. Like, would they just
Do we want to
pack-
just say hypothetical if they cobbled it together?
I think
Yeah, I
let's
think-
just go with
I
they,
just-
they cobbled it
and I
together,
think
and I
even-
think
In that case,
It would.
in that case, I'm back in Rotator. That
I
that
would also
triangular
back
wedge is
Rotator.
historically good.
Yeah, because I think also Valkyrie wasn't super good at sticking around to the end of fights this season. They didn't really get good at that until the next one.
They
Um,
stuck around to the end of Hypershock, if I recall correctly.
No, they
right?
didn't.
No,
They
Hypershock
got-
was a knockout.
they
Hypershock
got-
was a
They
knockout.
died within a
Mon-
minute.
died really quick.
Monsoon
It was
is
not
the
a
one-
knockout.
Yeah,
It was a knockout.
Yeah,
it was a knockout.
was.
Was
It
it?
was,
Mon-
and it
What
would have
was
been
a knockout?
quicker. It would have been a quicker knockout if Will decided to let up.
Yeah.
Monsoon is the one that you're thinking of, where it went the full 3 minutes and was just constantly skirting underneath the raised chassis. Which was
Yeah.
kinda
Yeah,
funny.
I think the fact that they never really like.
See, that's
did-
just
I
them
mean, they
skirting
got like
around,
what
like-
I think
It's
2 or 3 solid bites on Monsoon, but I think the fact that they were just skipping and grinding the whole time is the
Yeah,
only
once
reason
once
Valkyrie lasted.
once they ripped off that little wedge, there wasn't anything to really hit.
What I'm
9
getting
second
at-
yeah,
spin up,
that's
by the
kind of
way.
what happened with the
I think
Monsoon.
Valkyrie
Yeah.
is pretty susceptible to wear and tear throughout a fight against a robot that it actually gets moderately decent engagement on. Like we saw
Yeah.
against Quantum specifically. Obviously, Quantum smushed their weapon motor, but Valkyrie also
Yeah.
just died on its own. From
I'm
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
trying to
but,
think
like I
how-
forgot they died against Hypershock. I was gonna originally defend a Valkyrie.
That was a
but I
very
think I have
quick
to go
death.
rotator.
No,
I'm
they,
trying-
I
they
think
died.
I think
I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember how long did their weapon hold out against Petunia? Was it the entire fight or?
Well, it was a
Oh, it's been a
KO.
while
I
since
think
I've
it was
seen that
KO.
one.
I think it was the
it
whole
was-
fight,
I think
yeah.
it survived the whole fight.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
survived the whole
that's-
fight because it was a KO. Because the way the KO
Yes.
happened was like they ended up back. Didn't they end up like back to back? But then like
They
Valkyrie's
they
blade
bit-
just reached over the back of it and hit the link on the back of Petunia or something.
that would be really
Did-
funny,
did-
There was
actually.
definitely a funny
Did it
like
have a
back
link?
of weapon engagement on
I
Petunia.
know
Or
that
maybe
the-
it just
Does
hit
it have a
something and hit
link?
it on
Yeah, I
the
was
back
gonna say,
and killed it instantly.
because I remember because it bounced off, like it bit into the wedge and like
Mhm.
bounced weirdly and hit it from the back, and it was this weird interaction. But
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I couldn't remember exactly how long the
Yeah.
fight
Yeah.
had gone.
So Valkyrie was
yeah.
upside down, and Petunia was like pushing it, driving backwards. So the back of Valkyrie's weapon clipped Petunia kind of in like the neck.
Oh, I see.
I'm not really
Yeah.
sure why they did that.
Maybe
yeah.
maybe it took out the. Did it have like a tall radio area? Like I feel like it
They
did,
didn't.
but it
I
probably.
think
Yeah.
Petunia just conked out.
I remember it had
Yeah.
one in World Championship 3. I'm pretty sure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
That was a little weird.
Okay. Anyways, we're all in agreement that Rotator beats Valkyrie, correct?
Yeah, I'm
think
so.
voting Rotator for this.
All right.
Yeah, Valkyrie just
Um,
didn't have
this-
the longevity.
Okay. This next fight I actually think is pretty interesting. Sonomayachi versus Cobalt.
I
Cobalt
think
wins.
Cobalt.
Yeah, Cobalt.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
easily
is a
wins.
pretty
really
cut and
now
dry
with
Cobalt win.
With the seedings here, like Cobalt wins this. No,
This is
Like, this is
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. Hear me out, though. Hear me out. Cobalt gets stuck again.
nah.
Well, they were
That's-
running their
It-
big wheels at
it
this
doesn't
point.
get
and-
stuck
Yeah, they're
more
getting the big
often
wheels. They're not gonna get
than it gets
stuck.
stuck.
Nah, they're gonna get stuck again.
I-
Trust
Nah,
me.
they're not
think
gonna
this
get
is a
stuck. They
pretty
slide
funny
right.
cut and
This is
dry-
exactly
cut
what
and dry
Cobalt's designed
Cobalt
for.
win.
They slide
It
right
is,
under
yeah.
run them over.
Trust me, guys. With the big wheels attached, it can't get under them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think the big thing
No,
is that my thing is that I feel like Sonomayachi is gonna rip out that little itty bitty wedge right away, and then Cobalt's gonna spend the rest of the fight struggling to actually hit Sao with its weapon.
See,
Well,
See,
what do you-
I don't
No,
think
I
so.
think
I
it's
don't think
on
they
the
run the wedge.
Beat to
Yeah,
feel
they have
right.
a-
Like, well,
Yeah,
okay,
I
but
think
then
that's a
they're gonna
problem.
struggle to hit that. Okay, then they're just gonna struggle
So-
to hit Sao the entire fight.
No, because
Did
they'll
they even
deflect
use
it
the wedge
upwards.
against
This is the one
themselves?
thing
Off
where
the
Cobalt
slope.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with your argument there, Blaze, is that because Sao doesn't have a way to stop Cobalt from driving straight at it, that's exactly what Cobalt's going to do until it gets it up against a wall and the inertia tips it high enough that the blade catches it, and then it's
Mm.
over. It either
Have you
flips or gets torn up.
considered? Have you
'Cause that's-
considered? What if Cobalt gets flipped over by Sonomayachi?
I feel like
that would
the
be
opposite
really
is
bad.
more likely to
That
happen.
would be funny, but I don't see it happening. I think.
Trust me, bro. Trust
I'm
me.
gonna say something that might sound a little weird here, but I promise it's gonna make sense afterwards. I think the most apt parallel for how this fight is gonna go is gonna be Cobalt versus Ghost Raptor,
What?
where
Oh, so you mean
Nope.
do you mean
Sa-
Sonomayachi's gonna have one good moment of control because Cobalt's were running into the screws?
I think Sao is going to be hitting Cobalt enough early on to deny those engagements up until the point that something happens, and then Cobalt has free reign to just push it around the arena as much as it feels like until it gets it up against a solid surface, and once it's sandwiched, it goes into the blade and dies, and that's what happened to Ghost Raptor.
Fair.
I think
that's
alternatively,
fair.
That's pretty much what
Yeah.
I think is gonna happen. It's either that or they just straight up they get one good hit in. Like that's all they need, honestly.
Mhm.
Because I don't know, the weapon system, not the weapon system, just like the weapon triangle on Sal, I think is fragile. That like, I think
the bracing
Koval's gonna
racks.
really earn that most destructive award here, guys.
Yeah,
I
I
think
could
okay.
see like the
I
hammers like sliding up the wedge, like kind of deflecting upwards into the weapon, and because they're slowed, they'll like lose that and get really like distorted, or
I
just
think
like
that's exactly
Sao
what'll happen.
Okay.
Same way,
entirely, like
Poison
helicoptering,
Arrow
and then
kind of
Cobalt gets
whoops it.
exactly the right
Mhm.
hit on the underside of Sao. I think this is gonna be
Yeah.
this is Cobalt's like dream matchup in the top 16 seeds, to be honest. This is
Yeah.
exactly this is a
I
super lucky
guess.
matchup for them.
Horizontal with a low tip
I mean
speed.
Valkyrie.
Yeah.
I think
okay.
realistically, Cobalt would almost want to let Sao get up to speed a little bit, so that Sao can deflect off the wedge and get teed up.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what the robot's shape is designed for.
All right. All right.
And hitting Sao before it's up to speed would risk Sao's wedge just getting under theirs, which should be so
All
funny.
right.
Also, we
right,
keep Sao never winning a bracket fight. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay. Anyways,
stay with
moving
tradition.
on. Moving on. Black Dragon versus Endgame. This
Black
is
Dragon.
the only year Black Dragon beats Endgame.
I
I
agree.
think this is a pretty cut and dry Black Dragon win. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that Black Dragon would win in 2017.
Actually, I don't know, because I think Black Dragon obviously can outlast Endgame, but I think their weapon was just such a nothing this season. I mean, I think the only time the weapon did anything was in their one bracket fight.
I think the big thing with Black Dragon, I think the reason why Black Dragon beats Endgame is because I do not trust Endgame's drive to not break itself. Like again,
it did get better by the end of the season.
I know it got better by the end of the season.
I think that even if the drive is holding out, the fact that it had such insane gyro when it was trying to turn, and Black Dragon is generally a bit faster than it, from what I can tell. So I think as long as the driver is just not an idiot and doesn't charge headfirst into the weapon every single engagement.
Endgame's gonna win. All right.
I mean, if this is like Games of the Future, Black Dragon maybe.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Endgame
I'm
versus
sorry.
Duck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm basing this on.
Yeah, me too. My thinking is that Black Dragon is faster and just a better wedge than Duck. But I think, like Duck, I mean, I don't know. In 2019, Black Dragon's weapon really just was, in my eyes at least, completely useless. And
it did something, but yeah,
I think
generally speaking, it's not that strong. But 2019 Endgame is also the one that had the really brittle aluminum chassis that would just break after every single fight. So I think the fact that it's not that powerful doesn't really matter, because like if it hits
I think it wasn't a matter of it wasn't a matter of power. It's just it would like break every single fight. I mean, like
no, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't need to last the fight. It just needs to get those hits in and then not get.
But also, I think
I think Black Dragon would be able to get those hits in as well. Honestly,
yeah.
Honestly, the more I listen to you guys,
was really only a problem on the front end, and I don't know if Black Dragon would even contest them from the front at all.
I'm kind of being persuaded maybe that Endgame might do it, because in that Duck fight, they were basically fully functional and they were actually quite speedy.
Yeah.
And they're gonna win head-on engagements.
Absolutely.
With that Duck fight, they were having massive issues in that Duck fight. Their weapon was consistently stopping and restarting over and over.
Yes. No, I agree that they might still have issues, but I think what might happen here is like Endgame gets. I think it's like fairly likely, right, that the initial engagements Endgame gets the better of and gets some weapon hits. Right, they've got the better ground game, and if the drive is working like it was in the Duck fight, they actually are probably could close to match Black Dragon's speed. So now that you made the point about Black Dragon weapon reliability, right? Like Endgame could quite conceivably disable Black Dragon's weapon, and then they win a pushing match, even if their own weapon has issues.
The other point to mention here is that Endgame, if it gets flipped on any of those interactions where Black Dragon's trying to drive around it, it doesn't need to break Endgame. It just needs to turn it over, and it wins.
By this point,
I would like to say something about the speed of Black Dragon Endgame. They might be comparable, but like I think one thing
Black
is just,
Dragon
like
is
Endgame's
much.
gyro and maneuverability is just not
Mhm.
there this season. That
I
like
also-
even if
That's
they
true.
can match speed, I think
I
Black Dragon is just so much more likely to like get around or just
also
like not get hit.
I would also say I feel like whoever drove Black Dragon in season 4 is a better driver than Endgame in season 4 specifically. I think season 5 Endgame I think was much better driven. But it's also because straight up Endgame is much better in season 5. I mean, it won the season for God's sake.
I think it also helps that from 2020 onwards, Endgame just like knows that they're winning 99% of ground engagements, so they can be a lot more patient. They can wait for those perfect
Hydra
opportunities to
Yeah.
line up, where they don't really have that pressure that they have to be seeking them all the time. And that's not to say that they're sitting in the corner waiting for the opponent to come to them. They do
No,
engage
they're
actively.
very active. Yeah.
But when you have that luxury of knowing that, at some point your opponent has to come to you, and in the process of doing that, they are likely to make a mistake. They're likely to leave
Yes,
themselves
the Jake
open.
Ewart gambit.
And then you can punish them, with your very powerful vertical spinner. That works really well to Endgame's advantage.
I think
That
this
is
is a
very
perfect
true. Although
example of
having just watched Endgame versus Cobalt, you can definitely see this, and that's not quite part of their strategy yet. Like Endgame is trying to kind of meander around Cobalt, even though Cobalt is no threat to them at this point.
Yeah,
so I do think they are going to be a little more cautious. But my thinking is that
I wasn't saying that they're going to do that in this fight. I was just pointing out that was part of them being better at driving later, was driving specifically to their robot strengths.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe I'll have to just get a recap on Black Dragon. I mean, I'm just reading the wiki right now. Like, I don't know, Black Dragon's weapon seemed to be of such little. I mean, I think its big moment was hunting Bloodsport once, and then.
But it was. I mean, but it.
Had a
to
good
be fair,
hit
that's
on
what like a
had a
2-1
good hit on Warhawk too. So
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I
Even,
will say.
I think this is a perfect example of a classic Black Dragon fight where the weapon does more or less fuck all for the entire fight.
It
but
wins on.
It wins on
control.
control and the fact that their opponent breaks down at some point. In the fight,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think with the kinds of hits that Endgame would be dishing out to it, Black Dragon would be getting tossed, and
I mean,
if Black Dragon spends any amount of time upside down, that's time that they can't push Endgame around. That's time that they're going to stumble.
I would compare this to Death Roll versus Endgame. Actually, I think that's pretty.
So Endgame flips itself. Okay, cool.
Except Black Dragon's weapon is much worse at staying alive and doing things than Death.
Yeah, Black Dragon would
There
be.
is also though that Black
It also
Dragon
doesn't
is
need its
much more
weapon.
controlled than Death Roll. Like
Yeah.
Death Roll,
Death Roll is there to use this
gung ho
weapon.
straight into the face of Endgame, which I
Like,
guess
it's
later season Black Dragon would do, but this season in particular, they probably.
I hate to cut the discussion short, but just again, we did this earlier, right? For everyone who is in favor of Endgame winning against Black Dragon, say aye.
I'll go for it. Yeah, aye.
Okay, everyone in favor of Black Dragon winning against Endgame, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Black Dragon beats Endgame. I just wanted to cut that short because I know Nametab has to go here pretty soon, and I want to get through the
I can
other
do.
fights.
We'll do the last 4 fights as long as we don't take too long.
Yeah.
Then,
if we do end up,
I only see like one that's going to be
Twister.
Thankfully, we have another pretty cut and dry one next. At least
free shipping beats Tombstone.
Later, right?
Trust me, bro.
Guys,
Trust.
free shipping beat Last
shipping
Rites.
Tombstone.
Why wouldn't free shipping beat Tombstone?
True.
Real.
Okay. Anyways, Tombstone beats free shipping in a fucking awesome fight, though. I think it'd be.
Yeah.
I think it'd be an amazing fight, honestly. Definitely better than the friggin' World Championship 6 fight.
I think it would be really funny right up until there's some weird interaction where free shipping like drives into the screws and gets flipped over and can't self-right. I think that would be kind of funny. Like
Okay,
I don't know why that would happen. I feel like it would.
All right, Tombstone. All right. Anyways,
Jin Core.
Yeti versus
one.
Quantum. I would back Yeti for this fight. I think.
Yeah,
I'm on the team of Yeti. Yeah.
I'm gonna roll up my
Really
quantum
good one.
propaganda. Okay.
I love Quantum, but I cannot I cannot like the first thing I see is Yeti driving straight into Quantum's
Yes.
Quantum's head and just breaking it.
No.
'Cause
That's where we differ.
it's fragile.
I
I thought
don't
it
know
was
about
extremely
that
fragile.
one.
I thought it was
okay,
fragile.
right. So we
I thought it
had
was extremely fragile.
Death Rolls
So-
and Quantum going head to head, and Quantum was able to stop that. Okay, I think Yeti is pretty comparable, and also the
I
fact it's
thought-
aluminium. Like I can see
So-
them like
yeah,
especially if
so-
if the first context point.
I could have
just
sworn
to-
it was like extremely Quantum's
Ju-
head was just extremely
Yeah,
fragile.
so
I
let
could
me-
just be completely wrong.
Let me address that real quick because I heard you mentioning that the specific thing about its fragility is that to make it so lightweight because it's a big fucking head.
Yeah.
It's made of aluminum, which is a very soft metal compared
Oh, I
to something
see.
steel and
I see.
titanium.
Yeah.
I
So
see.
if it gets hit in the head, it's going to gouge a lot of the material out, which is
Oh,
why
I
they don't
see.
like fighting
Okay.
big spinners, because then it's
Okay, I
really
see.
expensive to
Yeah.
replace.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
but
I mean, I
yeah,
still
so
think
also-
think Yeti's gonna mangle
So,
the
so
fucking thing.
in a tournament setting, they would absolutely they would still try to avoid head-to-head hits as much as they can. But if they've got to go for it, they will go for it.
Okay, I will
so
say
my kind of
they-
idea of the
again-
engagement for Yeti was like, so yes, they go head to head, but I think it's kind of like the first death roll engagement when they fought, where the head just runs into this
Mhm.
weapon and just like stops it, and because Yeti is like it's not as like tall as death roll, and it's like pretty soft all around. I think Quantum could
Extremely.
literally like bite onto the drum, and so even if it loses the teeth, I could see it like because it's aluminium, right? I suppose it's
Yeah.
solid,
Hollow.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it hollow?
It is.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
it's
I'm
not
getting
it's
two
not a
different
solid
answers.
piece of metal.
It-
It's
it-
actually.
Yeah.
Oh no,
it-
no, not this season. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
That's one of the older ones.
It just had like a
But
shaft
listen-
running through
But
it.
yeah, so if it
It's not
stops
hollow.
the drum, I think Quantum's gonna go right into that and like completely set it off balance. Or like even if the or potentially like dig into like the wheels or front corners. And also just like Quantum's like so fast and Yeti's a bit kind of wobbly in terms of controlling itself this season.
It is
I can
pretty
see them
ponderous.
even if like Quantum loses the teeth, I can see them like grabbing hold of the drum quite easily, and they should be able to push Yeti around because it'll like roll off the floor.
I wanted to
And
ask this because of
think
this
it'll
question,
control
or
them a lot.
the notion that Yeti was wobbly this year. Are we thinking Yeti runs the forks or full drum
No.
for this?
No,
They-
they run.
No,
they run the full drum. They
didn't
run
have
full
enough
drum.
of the forks after
leaning
Battlebots.
towards Quantum actually.
They would. I feel like they would run full drum because I know. I'm pretty sure Greg just straight up did not like running the forks when.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he
after
said
the-
he hated the
after
forks
the
after
bite-
Force.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
forks away.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like,
he
see,
wanted
that's something that
just
makes
full
me-
smash.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think
think
that's
Quantum,
What loses the Quantum
I think
fight
he
for me.
also knows that Quantum would pretty decisively beat the forks in forking,
Mhm.
and therefore it's just something for Quantum to kind of shield itself with, and it can hide
Yeah.
around the drum.
Yeah.
I don't know. My
Again,
thinking is
I-
that because Yeti is somewhat, I don't think it's slow, but it's kind of ponderous. I think it would have the tendency to perhaps overextend, and if Quantum gets a hold of them, I think they could seriously mess them up. Especially because of that very large exposed collection of motors for the larger drum that hang out right behind the drum.
Oh shit! I
Um,
didn't see that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Quantum wouldn't even need to pierce them. It's similar to Valkyrie; it could just mush down on them hard enough, and
But
they
they-
would
Mhm.
become sad.
Okay. I just. Okay. I know. Would they even be able to reach the motors though? Because I don't think they reach past
Kind
the
of hard
They
to
drum.
would.
judge, isn't it?
I
They
think
could,
so.
I'm
but
not
I think
sure.
that would.
I think
They
it really
could.
depends on the angle. Like there are
I
some
think-
head-to-head ones where they would. There are some where they wouldn't. I think.
I think they could, but that would
I
require
don't know
a
if-
massive overextension on Greg's part.
Yeah, I think the
I
like
don't-
front
I
of the
don't-
drum
I
would
don't
have
know
to
if-
be
happen.
touching the like base of the head, but I think that's
Uh,
like kind of what would happen.
I think
Yeah.
the funniest possible outcome is that Quantum bites down on Yeti's drum, and because it's aluminum, the teeth sink right in. But then the drum keeps spinning, and they snap off, and they're just a second weapon tooth now.
Well, realistically, that tooth would come around and just
They
shred
turn into 20.
Yeti.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
break
but if
the
it,
fuck out
but
of
it,
me.
if it gets ripped, if
But
it gets ripped
imagine-
out, and then they can use it to beat up Quantum, that would be funny.
Trust,
It
trust
would
me,
be
bro,
funny,
trust
but
me,
it
bro.
would
They went
totally
all the way
obliterate the weapon
round,
motor
wouldn't
right
that-
behind it.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Quantum is also. I just realized Quantum would totally use their fat plow.
Oh,
Which is a
true,
much,
yes.
which has a much taller kind of collar to it, and I don't think Yeti would I mean, other than clipping the tooth off, I don't think Yeti would be able to damage Quantum, like in terms of armor from the front.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're not really fast enough to get around to the sides.
No,
Like,
Quantum is
Like-
extremely fast.
yeah,
And
Yeti-
very well driven.
Yeti basically has to hope to out-juke Quantum and scare them into driving too cautiously because they don't want to take too much damage early on, and
Yeah.
then take advantage of them trying to be too smart for their own good and snipe a wheel. That's Yeti's win con, and
Greg
I don't
is
see
an
it
amazing driver. I don't think he's gonna be thinking of that because Greg is
Yeah.
just so aggressive.
He's just-
He
yeah,
is
he's just
going
gonna-
to
he's
be
just gonna
trying to
press
fight
it.
with
He wants
and
head
then
first.
I think
Yeah.
that is
as we brought up, he abandoned the forks specifically so he could go full smash, and I think he's going to go full smash, and it's not going to work, but it's going to be really fun.
I think
I think this fight is gonna. Okay, I will say I have been swayed to Quantum.
I wanted Yeti to win, but I absolutely think Quantum.
I mean, to be fair, I like Quantum more. I just underestimated. I guess I overestimated the fragility of the head, or I was just
The head itself.
I was uninformed.
The fragility of the head is more of a season-long problem than a
Yeah,
per-fight problem.
no,
I get
it. I get it now.
It is,
Yeah.
it's made of a play aluminum, which it's aluminum, but it doesn't come off in one piece. It doesn't break. It
Alright.
chunks off.
Perfect world
Moving
where
on.
perfect world where we assume every robot gets fixed fully between every fight. There's no concern.
All right, moving on. Okay,
So-
Whiplash wins. All right, anyways, let's move on.
So we are voting Quantum over Yeti then.
I have already
Yeah,
put Quantum
I'll
over Yeti.
say, yeah,
Okay,
probably.
anyways,
It's
Whiplash
It's okay
versus
because they lose.
Texas
this
Twister.
time.
Whiplash versus Texas Twister. Anyways, we've seen this Texas Twister get its ass kicked.
I don't know,
yeah.
guys. Texas Twister really could win. The last fight was close.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
No,
It got knocked
learned from
out
his mistakes,
by
and he's gonna
Tombstone,
cite
bro.
all the time.
Not Tombstone.
Whiplash.
He got
yeah.
knocked out by Whiplash, bro.
Yeah.
Tombstone came in with a steel chair. That's how pissed off we were with Texas Twister after scamming Black Dragon to that win.
True.
Ray is so dedicated to dunking on the Vasquezes that he will steal their wins out from under them.
Okay. Anyways, Whiplash beats Texas Twister. I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
This fight,
This is an interesting one.
this
Oh,
fight, I
my.
think
Oh,
Fascinating.
Lockjaw would win, but I think it'd be probably. I honestly, I would say this would be the best fight of the round 32. Genuinely, at least out of the fights we've talked about, because it's.
I'm
think it'd be
a
this
big
or, like,
Lockjaw
Tombstone for
enjoyer,
sure.
but I can see them fumbling this because I think they'll really struggle to get purchase on Blacksmith.
I think. I genuinely think it can go either way. I feel like I would just back a Lockjaw more, simply put, because I think Don Hudson's just a better driver than Al Kindle. Like, not to say Al Kindle's a bad driver, because he's pretty good, but I think Don Hudson is just Don Hudson is just arguably the best driver in 2019. I wouldn't say he's the best driver in 2019. I mean, there's I'd probably say.
That's a debate for another time.
That's a debate for another time. But
he also just has a much more effective robot.
that is
he has
also.
That's what Blacksmith's
weapon.
win con in this fight is not going to be its weapon. It's going to be trying to outlast Lockjaw's shoddy reliability.
I
think
I kind of think that happens. No,
I need to like. I don't
assuming,
remember like Black
if we're
Dragon versus Lockjaw well enough.
Black Dragon versus Lockjaw was
Lockjaw dominated
was a
that
really
fight,
good
and
fight.
that's what I think this fight is going to be like.
well,
Yeah.
the thing is, hold on. So Lockjaw dominated the first half, and then the second half, Black Dragon couldn't do anything because of Lockjaw's forks, but Lockjaw was the weapon was stopped, if I remember right,
Lockjaw was just straight on. Lockjaw was straight up on fire for the second half of the fight. And
Yeah, but they just
I think
denied.
that's why they called it a split, but like it
Yeah.
really
It
wasn't.
shouldn't
I
have
think
been.
Even
that was
then,
one of the stupidest splits
But
ever.
but the difference here is that
Black
Blacksmith
Dragon
doesn't.
tried to pull off another fraud win.
Blacksmith
True.
doesn't try to doesn't like it can still it's not going to get denied by Lockjaw's Forks in the same way the Black Dragon did, right? Like they're just
that's-
gonna
I think it would. Lockjaw's
butt into
forks
each
are so
other
much longer.
and just smack
So,
them. They might push
in-
around a little bit.
in a sense, that's true, but that's true if they are facing each other the entire time that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Blacksmith, when it fires the hammer, unless someone is like perched on its forks or wedge at the time it's firing it, it flops around a lot. So while these engagements are happening, it's gonna
It does
be
flop
flopping around.
though. It does
Yeah.
flop
It does a
around. Maybe
bit,
not
yeah.
like not like a lot. I wouldn't say it flops around a lot. Like it doesn't obviously just flop around as much as
it's-
Chomp does, but
It's
it does
not
flop
2016
around.
beta. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
it is.
not
I
like-
think
if that-
flop is a good word. Like it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
enough to get its wheels off the ground, then just make it kind of.
I
that-
think
that makes
I think-
Lockjaw's job easier. It makes it easier to get around to the sides
Yeah.
and push from there where the hammer's not
Yeah.
hitting you.
Yeah, and Blacksmith is really, really aggressive with the hammer. Like
Mm.
I would arguably they are more aggressive than Shatter. I believe, right? I know they're aggressive with the hammer.
They
will-
used it
I
very
would-
differently, so I
prefer
wouldn't compare them.
I
I
would-
think
I would-
Shatter likes to throw their weapon into other weapons, whereas Blacksmith does that, but it doesn't. That's not its instinct. I'd
Blacksmith
say.
does that as a side effect of "fuck it, we ball" with the hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no, that's like no, but okay, maybe they're not like as aggressive as Shatter, but like my
I
point
can
is that they are aggressive, and I think they are gonna.
I would
they're
argue.
gonna give
I would argue.
Donald
I would
Hudson
argue.
plenty of opportunities.
I would argue that by that comparison, Blacksmith is more aggressive than Shatter because it's doing it even though it's not a good idea.
I
Whereas
think
Shatter
obviously,
is-
I think
It's the bull
I
Shatter
think-
is Shatter is purposeful. Blacksmith is smash.
I
also,
think
it's worth noting that I don't know. I think Blacksmith became more reserved with the hammer as the season went on. They
That
didn't use
is-
it once against Shredderator until it was stopped spinning.
that
Um,
is
Well,
fair,
they-
but they
they-
also
they-
I will to be fair, Cheddar had those like really weird
Oh, whatever.
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
wing
fins,
thing
yeah,
so that
whatever.
they didn't
right.
want
the
to.
Wings of Freedom.
Victory.
Yeah, they had the wings of freedom. Were the wings of freedom vertical or horizontal?
They were
They were
vertical.
vertical.
They were vertical. Yeah, I well, to be fair, they would not want to like as much as like
That could
Alkindle is like
fly.
aggressive with the hammer. Like he's not.
He's not stupid.
He's not.
He-
He's not stupid.
At least he
would-
wasn't
think,
until the
um,
Bloodsport fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say he would never fire.
Weapon in that fight.
He would never fire his weapon into a horizontal spinner.
That's true.
Ever. Not
You just
ever.
got-
Alkindle will
pandemic-
never be so silly. And
In a
I can't
world
believe
where
the-
Ballast
I
and
can't believe-
Bloodsport don't exist.
I can't believe the pandemic made Alkindle an idiot.
True. I think we
it's
just
a
need to look
COVID
at
vaccines they got in his brain.
brain.
I do think the general concept is there, though, that Blacksmith would be flopping around a bit in this fight.
I think we just
very
need to look
fun-
at Blacksmith versus Sawblaze, and
I-
then
I-
Lockjaw
I- no,
versus
no, no.
Black Dragon.
I think this is going to be really similar to Blacksmith versus Bite Force the year prior, where I
Mhm.
think it is just
Yeah.
like I think the first minute or so, maybe first minute and a half, is gonna be complete domination from like the spinner, and I think they're gonna like rip up a bit, and then when that spinner goes down, I don't think they're gonna be able to do much other than get pushed around.
I think that's a really good comparison, but I think that the ways in which Lockjaw is worse than Bite Force really hurt it here, because I think it's not going to be able to get as good bite on Blacksmith is, because the forks are like quite kind of spindly, far out and not that long, so they're not going to tee
I
Blacksmith
think
up
they're
as
pretty
well.
long, relative to the weapon.
Those
At
are pretty
least.
long. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
pretty
they're
long.
they're
Lockjaw
long
had
in the weapon,
some of
yeah,
some
but
of the
I
better
think
grounding this year.
sorry, no, it's not that they're not long; it's that they're quite shallow, so they don't push
Mhm.
Blacksmith very far up to tee it up that well. And they
Yeah.
won't be pushing like the weapon will be hitting like Blacksmith forks, while the forks will be on like the body. It will be really awkward, I think.
I
And
think
also,
that
I just don't trust Lockjaw to push something around in the way that Bite Force did. I think if Lockjaw tries to do that, they're just going to set themselves on fire in 2019.
I think Lockjaw's
So-
done plenty
so,
of pushing. Like if you watch, I just remembered Lockjaw versus Duck, which they did
Yeah.
win, by the way.
I
yeah,
like-
Lockjaw didn't really push stuff around. They just didn't get to push it around.
I'd
They
like
were like
to,
the
I'd
they were
like
like
to
the Matador
address
to the bull.
I'd like to address to those last couple points you made there, Nametab. First about Lockjaw catching fire, trying to push things around. It wasn't the drive motors that were the problem; it was the weapon motors.
Yes, it's
But
true.
to that point, I think that the forks are actually going to help Lockjaw compared to their fight with Black Dragon, which we were talking about earlier, because it's not going to be hitting as solid a target each time it's attacking. When you're hitting the full body of a 250-pound robot, that's putting a lot of shock back into your weapon, and that was kind of what was really hurting Lockjaw there towards the end of 2019 and every year after. But
good.
when you're just hitting the
There we
forks,
go.
I don't know whether it's going to actually remove any of the forks. It could, but I don't think we ever really saw any of Blacksmith forks get ripped off, so I don't know that it's going to happen. But I think that it's going to.
You're still going to get a lot of shock though, because you're going to be hitting like a triangle, like on the like you're going to be effectively hitting a wedge. Because you're not going to be able.
I'm not entirely sure how to answer that. What?
Oh, we're gonna get all geometry dash here, I think.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Geometry dash?
A British
Geometry-ish or whatever.
British man loves his triangles, loves his shapes.
Yeah.
I do think it's also worth noting that Blacksmith is very slidey, very oversteery on its teeny tiny wheels, and I think Lockjaw will be at its corners and sides for a good portion of the fight. I mean, look at how the Witch Doctor fight went,
I actually agree with you, but I just think they'll fail to capitalize on it at all.
All right. Okay. I obviously I Nametab.
We doing voting?
Let's do the voting real quick because I know you had to go like 30 minutes ago.
Gotta go fairly
Okay.
soon, yeah.
Okay. All in favor of Lockjaw, say aye.
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 Okay. Lockjaw wins.
5 out of 6, yeah. But,
Well, that means we're beginning,
I thought I'd fight Blacksmith's corner, but yeah, I can.
That means we're beginning a fully working rematch next time, though, with a Whiplash. Which is a really good debate.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Lockjaw beats
I
Whiplash.
think Lockjaw dominates the ground game without question.
Lockjaw beats Whiplash.
Spoilers, guys. Spoilers for part 2.
Yeah, spoiling. Yeah,
spoilers.
Let me look at these matchups we'll be getting. Bite Force, Rotator. Oh god.
Spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, still got to do the other.
I feel like it is worth mentioning that Lockjaw can lift with its forks, like they do move.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wait. Lockjaw lifts with. Oh yeah. Oh, they had the lift at this point in time.
Yeah, they could lift. Yeah.
I know they were hydraulic season 3.
They
I
only
didn't know they were. I know they stopped having them. I didn't realize that they.
Yeah,
they did have them.
I think they were linear actuators in 2018, but they were servos in 2019. But the only time they ever picked up anything was Whiplash, and they just dragged them across.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
The camera angle hides it, but it's
that's such a good
really cool
fight.
system.
It ended in such a wet fart.
All right.
True.
Anyways, all right. Let me do this. Let me do an outro real quick. All right. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for part 2. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those notifications so that way you never miss another podcast.
Buzzword.
Buzzword.
How do I nerd react
words.
to someone's what someone's saying in real life?
and with that, I'm going to stop the recording.
No, don't do that.
I'm going to stop recording.